Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I have some fantastic news for myself, the YouTube channel, future videos, and there's just been fantastic Nintendo Switch 2 news today. I don't even know where to start. Yeah, I guess we should start with the obvious thing that we've always been doing. If you guys haven't already, actually don't really need to ask you for this anymore. Normally, we start this video being like, hey, we're so close to 18,000 subscribers. Can we hit it before my New York City trip? We hit it. We hit 18,000 subscribers. That could have not been done without you guys, so thank you very much. Obviously, the goal when we were doing this was to hit 16,000 before I went to New York City, and here we are at 18,000. So, let's hit 19,000 before New York City. I'm joking. We're leaving next week. We got a few days. The other exciting news I have before we jump into the amazing Nintendo Switch 2 news we have for you today is I fortunately was able to get a Nintendo Warp Pipe Pass for the New York City midnight launch. If you guys been watching my streams, I have been heavily concerned if I was even going to be able to do this. I knew I was going to be at the line, but honestly, with how Nintendo has been handling their lines over at the New York store, I knew that there was going to be a slim chance that I would actually be able to pick up the system and get the pipe pass that I need to be able to purchase the system, because that's how Nintendo does it nowadays compared to back in the day. You actually have to have the certificate that just randomly drops. Mason came through. I'm not going to lie. I was going into work. I was getting ready for work. All of a sudden I get a text message, Max, check your phone right now, go. I'm like, what is he? And I'm like, oh my gosh, he sent me the pipe pass thing, and then I signed up and I got it. I'm pretty sure I got one of the last few, because momentarily after I sent it to somebody else, it already was gone. So we are very fortunate. It shouldn't have been possible that I have the Warp Pipe Pass, considering where I was at the time and not focused. So I was shaking though. I was like, oh my gosh. Okay, Max, stop shaking. You gotta do this. You gotta do this. Because I was like, oh my gosh, what if I mess up? It's over. But we're good. We have a secured pass. I just got to figure out the camera situation, which hopefully that will be resolved easily with no problem. Without further ado, y'all don't care about anything that I just told you about, so let me just get straight into the Nintendo Switch 2 news. So this one's kind of surprising. I thought PlayStation locked this game up to where it was exclusive to its console, but I'm guessing if it was exclusive, it was some sort of one-year deal. I knew it was coming to PC in the next few weeks, but Stellar Blade. Stellar Blade is obviously a PlayStation 5 game. It always appeared to be a PlayStation 5 game. And then earlier this year, we had the announcement that it was coming to PC. I believe the PC version is coming out next month. And the developers of Stellar Blade just had an investors meeting where they told the investors that the plan for Stellar Blade is to actually put it on other platforms now. So the other platforms there are out there that they're not on is Xbox and Nintendo Switch 2. So it's possible that we're seeing Stellar Blade come to the Nintendo Switch 2 in the next few years. Now, I'm going to give you what I think my prediction is of when this game will happen. I'm going to compare this to kind of when Nier Automata came out. That was a game that people was playing on PlayStation. People were like, oh my gosh, this would be the perfect game to come to the Nintendo Switch. And that game released in 2017. Every year people was like, oh my gosh, this is literally the perfect game to put on Nintendo Switch. Where is it? Why is it not out here? We didn't see the announcement of this game coming to the Switch until 2021. And that's when it also released. So it took 4 years, because I believe the developers mentioned that Nintendo was never really on their radar until the Switch actually released, and that's when they were able to start working on a Switch version of the game. With Stellar Blade, I feel like it's going to be a very similar case here. I think people are going to be like, oh my gosh, please put this on the Switch too. And I bet that the developer doesn't even have a development kit. So what I'm betting is going to happen is that it's going to come out on Xbox probably within the next year. And then I would say probably 2027 or 2028 is when you'll see Stellar Blade come to the Nintendo Switch 2. I know they also talked about that a sequel of Stellar Blade's in the works. I'm putting that in here because maybe that comes to Switch 2 day one. But what I'm expecting to see from this series is probably some sort of deal to where it's exclusive to PlayStation for 1 year, or maybe the game has gotten big enough to where they don't need any type of exclusive deals and can fund the game themselves and don't have to worry about any of that. And it just comes to all platforms day one. Honestly, I was never expecting to see this game be on a Nintendo platform, so the fact that we're having this discussion kind of surprises me. But the game can definitely run on the Switch 2, as we've seen how powerful it is, and as long as they put the time and effort, I really think you can put anything on the Switch 2. It all depends on if people develop games the right way and give it the time and effort. Definitely something I wasn't expecting to hear about this year, this week, or just let alone be talking about on this channel. I literally can't believe I am saying the words Stellar Blade on this YouTube channel. That's honestly pretty crazy. This one kind of surprised me. I don't really understand why there's so much controversy surrounding this. I guess since Nintendo is kind of considered as a children's console, that they wouldn't have this option, but I don't know, still, I don't feel like this is something that makes sense to me with the amount of hate that it's getting. But Nintendo Switch 2 had a trailer drop regarding its voice chat feature, and it's been confirmed that you're going to need a phone number to sign up or at least use the software. A lot of people are complaining about that, saying, why do you need a phone number to sign up for this stuff? What if I don't have a phone number? And all that good stuff. And everyone's just like, just use Discord, all that type of stuff. Well, Discord kind of requires a phone number at this point now. And a lot of these apps that use voice recognition or just voice calls, that type of stuff, video chats, they kind of require phone numbers now. Everything nowadays when you're making an account requires a phone number. It's not like back in the day where you could just use an email address. Don't really understand why Nintendo is getting so much hate on this one. I guess it might be due to the fact that with PlayStation and Xbox, I believe if I'm correct about this, you don't need a phone number for that. But at this point, that was back in the day. They might have changed things where you need a phone number. And if for whatever reason you don't have a phone number, you can do something like Google Voice. That's literally like $1 to make a phone number. I don't know. I'm trying to understand it. At the end of the day, you probably shouldn't be using this software because I have a feeling it's going to be garbage. I mean, the screen share of it's going to be like 2 frames per second. The camera quality is horrible. The voice quality is probably going to be horrible as well. So I don't see this as a problem because I'm not using it. I don't think anybody's going to use it. I think it's probably a horrible software to use. People complaining about this is probably not even going to use it in the first place. They were always going to use Discord. I don't know. It was an interesting advertisement. It really felt more like Nintendo being like, hey, use Discord instead of our app. At this point, I feel like anybody looks at anything for the Nintendo Switch 2, and if there's a way that they can turn it into something negative or talk bad about it, they will do it. That's really what I've learned over the past few weeks when it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2. People will turn the littlest things trying to make it into the worst thing possible. And the Switch 2 definitely has bad things for sure, but there's some things that y'all go over with like this that I'm like, everything else does it, so why does this matter? At the end of the day, I guess it's going to be one of those things. I believe it was yesterday's video or the day before that, we talked about the Gearbox CEO, Randy Pitchford. If you're a fan of a game, you'll find a way. Or no, it's like if you're a true fan, you'll find a way. We have the tweet somewhere. We're probably showing it. He had such an interesting take on Twitter. And I've said it before, this guy always has out there takes. He says very interesting things. So when I found out about that and saw it, it didn't surprise me that he said that. But to a lot of people, I guess it surprised them. He had a updated or somewhat updated comment. It feels like it's a sorry without saying the word sorry, or I don't even know what you say to this, but he kind of had a response to the hate that he was receiving. So this all started because someone decided to take the response that Randy said online and used, I guess it was ChatGPT. It was some sort of AI. And they asked for Handsome Jack, basically that's a character in the Borderlands series, to make a version of this tweet. And basically what he said sounded very identical to what Randy was saying, but in Borderlands terms. And the tweet, I guess, blew up, and it had even Randy respond to it because he said it was funny. And this is what he said. Boy howdy, Jack GPT. Is that how I sound? My bad. But cheers to, I guess is the user that made it, for the funniest thing I'm going to read today. In all seriousness though, nobody likes being taken for granted, and it was not my intent. I'm humbled by the love and support everyone has shown the team, and as we push hard to get this amazing game in your hands, they're crushing it. And I can't wait for everyone to play what's going to be the best Borderlands ever. Regardless of where the price lands, it's going to be worth it and then some. Back to work for me. Honestly, I don't think Randy does so much for the company at this point, so I don't know why he's acting like he's doing something. Because if you look into the history of that person, I don't know. I'm not saying anything. Either way, that is a tweet right there. He didn't say sorry. He seems sorry, but I don't know. Like I said, this guy says interesting things. So this is amazing physical games news. This company, Lost in the Cult, is going to be offering physical Nintendo Switch 2 games that will not be game key cards. They're already launching with a pair of Nintendo Switch 2 games already that's going to be available to buy pretty soon, and these are the games. The first wave features Thank Goodness You're Here and the Evacuation of Hobbs Barrow. These are the only two games that they've announced so far. I don't really know too much of what this company does, if they're going to open the door to other games as the stuff that they've made. I'm not really sure. At the end of the day, though, it is exciting to see that there's more companies out there doing more than just game key cards, because we've talked about on this channel that it was going to take some miracles to see more companies do things that aren't game key cards if Nintendo is only offering people 64 gigabyte cartridges. I'm curious to see what companies like this and limited run games are going to be charging for their games, because as we talked about before, 64 gigs is very, very expensive, and I am really wondering what this means for the prices of these games. Are we going to see a very big price increase for a true physical game? I'm not really sure. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with this in the coming months. And like I said, the thing I'm really hoping for is that within the next year of the Nintendo Switch 2, Nintendo gives developers more options when it comes to gigabyte cartridge sizes. Okay, this one has to be probably, again, another unexpected story. Words that I never expected to say on this channel, but I don't even know why they're choosing this game. I know this is a very controversial game, because from my understanding, it's really, really bad. But the company that did Shenmue 3 appears to be teasing that Shenmue 3 is coming to the Nintendo Switch 2. Let's talk about where this started. The company NN Games recently secured the publishing rights to Shenmue 3. Not really sure why they wanted to secure Shenmue 3, because from my understanding, this game is horrible. I have played a little bit of the first game, and I thought Shenmue was great. I was like, man, why has this not come to the Nintendo Switch? These games haven't come to, like, it's on PlayStation and Xbox. This would be the perfect game to hit Nintendo platforms, and it never happened. But it looks like the series is hitting Nintendo, just not in the way people wanted or hoped for. And they did a survey asking the fans where they would like to see Shenmue 3 hit consoles, and one of the options was, weirdly enough, the Nintendo Switch 2. It also said Switch 1, so I mean, I would think that this could come to Switch 1, but it's hard to say nowadays. And then they even took it further to update what they were saying regarding Shenmue 3 in an article with some sort of magazine, teasing that it's already in the works for Nintendo Switch 2. They've said that something is in the works with Shenmue 3, and honestly, the only thing that makes sense for this to be is the Switch 2, because this game's already on everything else. I'm just so confused why Shenmue 3 and not Shenmue 1 and 2, but whatever, I guess. Shenmue 3 is actually not available on Xbox, but they replied to somebody on Twitter hinting that it's coming to Xbox and Switch, and just that something Shenmue 3 is in the works. I don't know, man. I just think it's weird that they're putting that rather than the first two games. I don't know. I'm not a game developer. I'm not a game publisher. I don't know these things. Maybe there's a reason why Shenmue 3 is coming. Maybe they think that's going to do crazy numbers. I don't think it's going to do anything for them, though, if I'm honest. Well, guys, that's everything I have for you. Today had a very interesting amount of stories, things that I thought we would never discuss on this channel, Stellar Blade being one of them, and then to end it off with Shenmue 3 coming to the Switch 2. Yeah, this video definitely took me places, and places that I was not expecting. But I definitely want to hear what you guys have to say in the comments down below on everything that we discussed. I'm sure that some of y'all are not going to be happy with what I said about the voice chat, as I'm sure people are going to be like, oh, we shouldn't have to have a phone number, da-da-da-da-da, whatever y'all are going to say in the comments. I'm here for it. I'm open to hearing anything. I like the debate. I like the discussion, all that good stuff. But guys, I have been talking for way too much. Make sure to backslash that subscribe button, like the video, check out the Twitter, check out the Discord server, Instagram, all that good stuff. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace. So happy that we got the Warp Pipe Pass. Can't believe I leave for New York City next Tuesday. Ah, yes, the New York vlogs are starting soon. I'm so pumped for that.